Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Caitlin, and in today's video, I'm gonna go over how the last 2 weeks of dental hygiene school has gone. So if you're interested in that, just keep watching. Alright guys, I know that I've been gone for like a month and a half, and literally I just needed that mental break to not have to do anything, to not have to record anything, to not have to study anything, and just really enjoy my winter break. I did intend to do this video a couple of weeks ago, but I couldn't find my camera charger, and I finally broke down and bought one. I thought that I was gonna be able to find it, but I couldn't, and here we are. So let's go ahead and get started with the first week. So school for us started on January 7th, and again, you know how the first weeks of school are. You're going over syllabus information, you're going over just general information, and unfortunately that requires a lot of syllabus reading at the school that I go to. So that is one of my worst. I hate reading out loud. I hate it so much. So let's see, we had clinic the first day from 9 to 12. That was pretty good. I was really happy that we didn't have to be there at 8 a.m. on the first day of school. So having that extra hour of sleep definitely made a difference whenever you're coming back from not having a solid sleep schedule whenever you're on Christmas break or winter break, you know. So we had course orientation. We literally just read the syllabus. We read how many patients we need for this semester, what specific skill evaluations we have to do, and everything like that. And it is a lot. It was very overwhelming trying to see, like, oh my goodness, like, and they're not even, this semester, they're not even making us have specific patients, like certain ages or certain perio situations. They're literally just having us have 5 general patients, and then in the summer, that's when it gets more into like, okay, you need a geriatric patient, you need this patient, you need that patient. That is one thing that's pretty good, although we need to see patients that just need prophies. So anybody who hasn't been to the dentist in a long time, we cannot see them this semester. And unfortunately, all of the people that I know in my life haven't had a cleaning in forever, and I don't know that many people that have had a cleaning recently, honestly. I've been able to figure out the patients that I need, luckily, and my big sister in the programs let me do her, and I'm doing my grandmother and other people like that. It is definitely, I know, one of the big points that stresses people out a lot is whenever you are in programs where you have to find your own patients. That is something that I was stressed out about beforehand because you have to see so many, but I will make future videos on this, on how I'm finding my patients and stuff like that, because I don't know everybody in the world, and I don't have a million family members and friends that are able to drive to where my school is. So I'll definitely be sharing in the future how I'm going to acquire those patients. Now that afternoon from 1 to 3:30, we had oral pathology, and that basically was just going over the syllabus. However, that teacher kind of really jumped right through it, and we got right in to chapter 1, which was intro to preliminary diagnosis of oral lesions. Now I did enjoy that class a lot because it was going over like all of the weird oral things that can happen cancer-wise, just like, you know, whatever the case may be. So I do think that I'll enjoy oral pathology. I'll explain a little bit later what I didn't like about oral pathology. And the next day we had perio orientation. That was the first class of perio. We went over the syllabus, and then we went over the first part of the lecture, and it was periodontium microanatomy. So it was really kind of a review on everything to do with the anatomy. Pretty simple, pretty easy, although I do think perio is going to be a little difficult for me as well. I think this semester, after looking at everything, I think oral pathology is going to be the most difficult for me, but we will see going forward. Then that afternoon, we had lecture in clinic on fluoride therapy, and this is what's so crazy to me is, like, whenever you think about going to hygiene school, you know that you have to learn all of these things that you're unfamiliar with, but you don't realize the specificity of it. You don't know all of the things. Like, you literally have to know the parts per million of different fluoride products. You have to know so many things that you didn't know that you had to have, or that you didn't know that you had to know. It's literally crazy the amount of stuff that you have to know, like the coarseness of polishing paste and just so many different things. It's just crazy. Anyway, so that lecture was very interesting to me because it talked about the dangers of fluoride and the benefits of fluoride, and just literally getting down to like the chemical scientific level of fluoride. And I don't know why, I guess I just didn't know that you were gonna have to know that much information. Like, that's how it's been ever since I started. I keep saying this, but I didn't know that I was gonna have to know what was going on inside the tube head of a x-ray machine, you know? And it's like all the way down to that specific of a point is like the specificity that you have to go through to become a dental hygienist. It's just crazy to me, all the things that I had no idea I was gonna have to learn. Then the next day, Wednesday, we had dental hygiene 1 in the morning, and that dental hygiene class, it was like the orientation, going through the syllabus and stuff like that. We did have quite a few projects due. I think we have 2 projects due in that class, and then we also had a project due in perio. I forgot to mention that. We have a project due in perio, and that one's a group project. And then in dental hygiene 1, we have an individual project, and then we have another like partner project. And so that did make me kind of nervous, because even though I make these videos and I seem like I'm, you know, able to be outgoing and talk about things and stuff like that, I get really nervous, and presenting projects makes me real nervous. So I am definitely gonna make sure that I'm really prepared for that, so I feel prepared in that moment and I'm not letting my emotions get the best of me. But that day we had a lecture on a patient with cleft lip. That was very interesting to me as well, just because that dental hygiene 1 class is really kind of on specialty patients, and you don't even realize, I mean, that's the thing that keeps happening, like with every single class. You don't even realize the amount of things that you actually need to know for this, because you're gonna see a variety of patients. You're gonna see patients with cleft lips, you're gonna see patients with diabetes, and all of these different things that is going on, and you need to know what you're doing that's going to interact with their health status. It's just really interesting to me, all the things that I had no idea that I was gonna learn, and I'm really enjoying. I feel like I'm being well educated. I don't know. I feel like I'm being more educated than I thought that I was going to be at this point in the semester and in the program. That afternoon we had fluoride lab, where we practiced just placing like the foam trays and the order in which we need to do it, and the patient instruction that we need to do throughout that. And then also we applied fluoride varnish for the first time on each other, and that was really cool, especially after having that fluoride lecture and like really knowing exactly what everything is and what's going on and the parts per million and all of the things that are interesting and why this is beneficial and stuff like that. So it's really cool to learn it and then apply it in clinic. And then that Friday from 9 to 12, we had disclosing and polishing lecture. Again, disclosing, learning all of the things about disclosing solution, how different polishing pastes and different disclosing solutions can affect people who take certain medications or have certain medical conditions or allergies to certain things like red dye. It's just really, really crazy the amount of things that you learn. Yeah, we had that, and that was pretty interesting, and that was the end of week 1. Now starting week 2, we had oral pathology in the morning, and that was on inflammation and repair. Now I did not find this as interesting, because it's like immunity, I don't know, just stuff that isn't very interesting, like learning new things like oral issues that you can see and identify and be able to help people by saying, hey, that looks suspicious, let's get it checked out. That's super interesting to me. But then like how the immune system works and stuff like that, I mean, it is interesting to me, I'm not gonna lie, it is interesting, but it's not something that I want to go and have a 4-hour long lecture on, you know. So, but it is what it is. You got to do the time. You got to learn the things, you know, to be able to pass your boards and stuff like that. Then that afternoon we had dental hygiene 1, and before every single one of those classes we have to do a case study, which I actually really like, because it's not just random information like, does a pregnant patient need this? You know, it's like, here's the info on this patient, right? This is all the stuff that's going on. It's kind of like a puzzle. It's like, okay, he has this going on and this going on and this going on. Now let's try to puzzle it together and figure out what we need to do for this patient. And I actually really like it. So even though I was like, oh great, we're gonna have a case study due every single class, are you kidding me? It's actually really interesting, and I enjoy case studies more than I like just general true false questions or stuff like that. And then that lecture was on the pregnant patient, the newborn and toddler. That was pretty interesting. Really, that class for the specialty patients is really straightforward, and I'm not too worried about passing that class. Like, I feel like I'll do pretty well on that class for sure. Then the next day we had disclosing, polishing, and fluoride lab, so on partners. That was crazy. I was very nervous for it actually, but I did not go first. So like the first half of the day I was with a partner. I was the operator the second half of the day. So we did disclosing, where you dab the disclosing solution. We did a plaque index record, and then we did polishing, and then at the end of that we did the actual foam tray fluoride application. So the week before that we did varnish and we waited, and then the next week we did fluoride application on each other, and that was pretty cool. It went pretty well. The one thing that I wasn't doing, because this was the first time ever using hand pieces and ever polishing, the one thing that I wasn't doing was not enough speed and not enough pressure, because I was scared, because I keep hearing like, oh, you can heat up the pulp, you can heat up the pulp, like it needs to be taps, you know, like dabs, and not constant pressure on the tooth because you don't want to heat up the pulp and stuff like that. And so this whole time I'm like, okay, not too fast. And then once I get fast enough, I'm still not flexing the cup enough and putting enough pressure. But by the end of it, I got the hang of it, and I think that I did pretty well. And then that next day, we had clinic on health promotion and disease control. I still cannot tell you what this lecture was on because I could not focus in this lecture. I've even had a test on this at this point because, you know, I'm actually on week 4 right now. I was backed up by not having my camera charger. I still can't tell you what that lecture was on. Health promotion and disease control. I go through and I just can't put my finger on what exactly we're talking about. Like, it's just random information that I don't know. I don't really know. I still don't know what that class was on. And then that afternoon we had periodontics, which was just overview of diseases and disease classification. So that was pretty self-explanatory. For that, I have had, over those 2 weeks, I did have several quizzes. I'm not doing so well in oral path and perio. I think I've averaged like a 70 on all of those quizzes, which is like a D because you have to get, because a 75 is a C and a D is a 70, I'm pretty sure. But I'm not too worried about it because it's only like 5% of my grade, so it's not that big of a deal. But then in clinic and in dental hygiene 1, I've made 100s on all of those quizzes. You know, you win some, you lose some. I'm not too worried about those quizzes. I just want to make sure that I do well on the tests. That's what really matters, and that's what I need to maintain my average test grade on, and just be sure that I am really doing well, because sometimes it's hard if you have a class a couple of days ago to take a quiz on it and actually do well if you haven't really had the time to study because you're studying for other tests. It's really, time management is a big thing in dental hygiene school for sure, which I'm sure a lot of you assume and know. Anyway, so that is how my first 2 weeks of dental hygiene school went. I'm actually almost done with my 4th week of dental hygiene school, so this coming weekend there will hopefully be a video up on the next 2 weeks. Now that I have a camera charger, I will be able to do this more frequently. Sorry I was gone for so long, but if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And if you want to, go ahead and follow me on Instagram. It's at Caitlin Drops It. It is a private page as of right now while I'm going through school and stuff like that, but just follow me and I will approve it. And I share on there every single day, pretty much every single day, the good, the bad, and the ugly on exactly what I'm going through and what I'm doing and what I'm cooking and what I'm eating, because at this point I'm 153 pounds down. I have lost 153 pounds. That's absolutely mind-blowing to me. So I talk about that, and I talk about my life and just everything that's going on. So if you're interested in that, definitely make sure to go over to Instagram and follow me over there, and I will see you guys on the next one very soon. Bye guys.